Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Nightcap. We're doing this every Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight is going to be a little bit different. I know here, typically, we look at the charts, we go through the market update, but I think tonight is really where you're going to get some true alpha. And that's why I'm so excited to do this. And yet, it will be different, but I think you're really going to get something from this. And why I want to interview this person is because I've sat back, I've watched, I've observed, and I've seen this person and his team have a real tangible impact in the crypto space, a positive impact. And there's a lot of times you look at crypto, there's a lot of negative connotation that comes with the world of cryptocurrency, the scams, a lot of people, they're just like, what is this magic internet money? And this team, the team BillyGoatTales, all right, that team along with CryptoBilly, they have connected people, they have helped people, and they have really promoted the positive aspects of cryptocurrency and really the community. And I love everything about it. They're all genuinely good people. I've met them. I've hung out with them. Like I've learned about who they are, what they represent, and it's an inspiration. So therefore, I wanted to take this opportunity to provide a platform to get that message out. And I think you guys are really going to take something away from it too, because CryptoBilly is someone who he's had many successes in life. All right. He's done well in business. He's a family man, so there's things that you can take away from this and see how that you can connect the business aspect of it with the family and how it all can intertwine. And so that is a real piece of this and why I want to do this. So, you guys are all familiar, all right? The giver's gain ethos has run rampant around our community. And I know a lot of us in here, we go to the same shows, we support the same people, you know, Alex O, my dude, I see him in the chat, and it's everywhere you go. You see Givers Gain. People, they get the super chats. You see Givers Gain, and it's super cool to see. And again, I'm really excited to do this. I'm gonna be honest with you. That being said, let's go ahead and bring up the man of the hour, Mr. Crypto Billy. What is
Hey,
up, man?
brother. Good to
Hey,
see you. Good to see you.
you too, man. You too. I'm excited, man. Thank you, one, for joining me. Thank you for taking the time out. That is much appreciated. And as we kind of talked about pre-show, like I think this is really going to be a good opportunity for people to almost get a little piece of like mentorship through the conversation that we're about to have. And I think that's going to be, like I said, that real piece of alpha that we're not really getting. And we get a lot of charts, we get a lot of areas to look at for price action, but this piece is, I think, something that can really kind of wrap it all up. And with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you the opportunity to let everyone know kind of who you are, talk about your team, Givers Gain, and all of that. So the floor, my friend, is yours.
Well, thanks. First of all, looking in chat, I think a lot of our community knows us. But for those who don't, right? Let me first say that intro was awesome, man. I was tearing up hearing you speak. I was like, man, did it impact that many people? I hope so. But to hear that, it's kind of like when my son, I caught my son when he was little, talking to his friends out on the basketball court. I came out, he didn't know I was there, and I heard him talking about his dad and how I'm the greatest dad in the world, and I mean everything to him. And it's kind of like that. It was kind of like what this is. But BillyGoatTales is a team of Jimmy Jim, Biomax, Redman, Crypto Pollo, Dave Digital, and our mods, of course, Alexandra G and Andy. But the whole idea is simple: just help others. Don't ask for anything in return, and watch the grace, watch the golden nuggets pop up in your path. If people will just trust in that and have faith, and faith is the substance of that hoped for and the evidence of that not found. You can't find the evidence, but you got to have faith, and it's hard to let go and do that. Now, you can't do that with takers, right? It has to be a team of givers. So givers helping givers, magic is created. Givers helping givers, magic is created. When there's a taker involved, a shiller, a scammer, somebody just out to get you, well, the giver's going to lose every time. So it's about the community. It's always been about the community, and it's always been about attracting the same like-minded. We say FYP, find your people. Shout out to Frankie Candles. A lot of these ethos started originally and as a mod in Frankie's Discord and on his live stream. Frankie was big on finding your people, and he kept saying that. And then I just happened to put words to hashtag Givers Gain. It's the same ethos, right? But I just happened to put words to it, and it kind of stuck, and it became our ethos, our mantra. And what we're trying to do in the crypto space is connect people. So if I have relationships with large creators and there's new creators coming on, I'm going to hook them up. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. If there's opportunities that I can help with, our team can help with, we're gonna give those opportunities to people. Alex O, my man down there, I see him down there. Alex O is a great example of this. You know, Alex wanted to start his channel. I got to know Alex through Frankie's Discord, and I just saw his passion, and his humor too. I love good humor, right? So Alex always had some humor and and authentic. He was authentic, you know. So I happened to be in a position that maybe I could help him. I called him up, said, "Hey, Alex, maybe I can hook you up with Sin City, and maybe I can hook you up with Investment Bros." And no promises, but let's see if I can make this match, you know, for you. I'd be happy to do it for you. I don't want anything in return. There's never anything in it for me. I just, if I can help you, that's beautiful. And here we are years later. We decide to form Billy Goat Tales. We decide to start X. We decide to go into YouTube. And who's helping me now? Alex O. You know, it's just incredible. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't part of the idea. It wasn't part of the thought. It just organically, naturally happened.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And actually, me and Alex, because of you and Piper, really have actually become friends. So we talk outside of this space, we'll say. Like we'll talk on a phone, like and we have our own conversations, and it's really been a budding relationship, and it's really because of you and Piper. Like you guys kind of made that come to fruition, and it's super super cool. But yeah, that's one thing that I've just really admired, and I've really taken it to heart. Like, and I don't know if you remember, there was at one point that I reached out to you like via message, and I was like, "Hey, man, like I don't want this to be a one way, deal." Right? You had dropped a couple super chats, and I was like, dude, that's really cool. But like, I wanted to be able to provide value to you. And you're like, you already did. And I was like, what are you talking about? And you're like, well, Biomex, like he got this deal done with like NFTs. I guess it was a group that he had talked about on the show. And like that whole thing kind of transpired. And I was like, wow, this is it. This is what he's talking about. Like, and it was completely like organic. And like I didn't even try to do it. It just happened that way by having him on the show. And like, dude, like that was really, really cool. But that to me was in it. It was like that opening moment where I was like, it resonated that this is real and like it's tangible. And I just thought it was so cool, man. I really did. And so again, like it's proof is in the pudding, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you inviting Biomex on was proof to me. It is like there it is, and even Piper. When I first met Piper, he and Crux at a show. I think it was Consensus or one of the shows. And as soon as we talk, now of course we have the military camaraderie. It's always good, right? You can always feel that military camaraderie right away. But as soon as we started speaking to each other about how we see things, it was like immediate. I was like, okay, this is my Piper's my people. You know, I could tell right away.
It's
And
my
so,
dude.
yeah, through that, lots of other Piper's part of the whole story too, the original story. So when I was explaining the Piper in the first conversation about what we're trying to do at Billy Goat Tales and who we are, he was just he was finishing my sentences for me. It was just that tight, and I was like, oh yeah, this is going to work out great. You know, so that's just magic. It just happened. You know, so that's what I mean. If you really believe, you can watch your life unfold if you just continue walking down the path and having faith in it. Uh, it's just going to come to fruition. You can manifest it. I can already see where Billy Goat Tales is going to be. Now I just got to bring that to me, right? It's just going to come to me. So we got some great people in our communities, all of us, and they're all in all of our communities. You know, they're the right people, and if I can help them, I'm going to help them, right? So it's just all part of givers gain.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, Piper, I owe that dude. Like I was on the verge of quitting. Like I was almost done. I I was getting on like, just kind of at wits end. I was like, it's a grind. It's a grind. We kind of talked about that as well pre-show. And I was like, like, do I need this? Like, I can make money doing what I'm doing. Like, do I have to put it out there for the world? And it was literally like that. you hear stories like this all the time, and it's like it's that last moment of you're just reaching out to somebody. You're like, maybe something will happen from this. Maybe not. Maybe he'll just ignore me. Piper calls me in 5 minutes, like literally, like 5 minutes from me like posting on his ex. He was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he just started talking. He was like, "Well, let's do some dueling TA. Let's get you on and let's go from there." And the rest is history. Like I tried to do like some lives on my channel, which was a complete catastrophe for the record. If you guys go back and watch, it was ugly. I had like 3 people in the chat. It was bad. And he's still like a week later, it's like, "Hey, I got an announcement. We're bringing Tradefly on." And I'm like, "What?" Like, and he didn't even talk to me about it. He just did it. And I was like, "Okay, well, I have a commitment now, I guess." And here we are. Here we are. I mean, it's almost I think been a year, maybe more, that I've been working with Piper. Like we've watched this channel grow from I think it was about 380 when I joined, and now, we're sitting over 7,000, which is it's been amazing. It's been an amazing, growth, and it's been cool. Like, and I owe a lot to Piper. He gave me an opportunity to grow and develop, and I at that point, like it was probably a silly move on his part, to be honest, because I wasn't very good, and I question still if I'm any good. But that being said, like it was really cool of him. And now I'm able to run a show, and I've met people that I've really built relationships with, and it's cool. It's cool. Like I feel like I'm part of something, and that was at one point it was lonely, like just doing content by yourself and not really interacting with anyone. I got ghosted a lot, to be honest with you. I'd reach out to people and it was just crickets, and I was like, "Okay, I'm nobody. I got it." Like, but now it's cool. I got a community, and I would say as you said, I've kind of found my people, and that's really nice. It's a good feeling, and it'd be cool to be able to continue to like pass that on to others. Um, yeah, man. So again, I appreciate you. Honestly, you had
Yeah, man.
your impact, and I don't even know if you realized it. So it's been cool.
Well, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it's what we started out to do and wanted to do, and you are impacting people with having a community where we can come together and sometimes even just bust each other's balls, in the chat is great. That is impacting other people, right? So you go on to most of the shows, the TA shows, whether it be Tom Crown or Alex or Piper's or Frankie's or Lifers or whoever. There's a lot of other conversations going on there that are just people talking to each other and people getting to know each other. That digital footprint is the beginning, right? So like I got to meet the Wicks, right? It was great. I talked to them digitally for a long time. RMT, Retro Mike, talk to him. You see them digitally in a chat, but then you get to go and you get to come together at a consensus or a Bitcoin show, and you get to meet them, and
Yeah,
you're building a community slowly, one at a time, and you got to hold yourself at a high standard for that, right? Because I always want to be exactly who I am all the time. The one thing with BillyGoatTales, and we've talked about it on our team, they're like, so I'm not big on being on air and dropping f bombs and cussing and the way I look at it is, hey, it's a show. If you're an anchor of CNBC, if you're on network TV, if you're syndicated, if you're trying to put out motivational videos, I don't think personally, and I'm old fashioned, I'm pushing 60. So I don't think that's a good place. But that doesn't mean I'm a military guy. So, of course, behind the scenes, I'm using the language that we're all accustomed to. But
yeah,
that's one of the things that I do, trying to ensure that we're presenting a professional situation, a setting versus just anybody else. You go into all of these. When we started our X Space, it was like I was very adamant. There's not going to be any of this craziness going on because I was in all those other X spaces, and you would go in, say it's a new coin launch or it's anything, really anything. And it's just a bunch of people just dropping the F-bomb and getting all crazy. And I'm like, I'm here to learn. I want to learn something. I want a takeaway here. I don't need to hear this. And I know that I might be in the margins there on that, in today's world, but that's just who I am. That is authentic to me. Right.
Yeah.
So, but we talk about that kind of stuff all the time behind the scenes.
I get it. I was at one point I was like, man, maybe we need a new like little like abbreviation like LGI or something. Let's get it so we can clean it up a little bit. Like I don't know. I was actually thinking about
Yeah.
that a couple of days ago because my mind does weird things,
Yeah.
man. I got to be honest with you. I just constantly thinking of stuff like that. Hey, small shout out though to the Wicks specifically. I know you just mentioned them. I met them in Nashville as well. Beautiful people, very, very nice. And they also, both of them, just dropped super chats tonight. So I do want to say thank you. Make sure that I, shout them out. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. And all right, well, we've gotten the nice parts. I love yous out of the way here.
Yeah.
Now it's I think that time where we're gonna start turning into kind of learning a little bit about your journey and about really how you got into crypto. And with that, kind of where do you think we're at? Do you think we're early in this, we'll say, process of adoption and cryptocurrency? And, just kind of where do you think, are we early? We kind of maybe it's losing its luster. I know there's a lot of bad sentiment right now. I think that's because people are not heavy in Bitcoin, they're heavy in alts. But that being said, I would like to kind of hear about that, your journey and, kind of where we're at with crypto.
Yeah. So I got into crypto in 2017 because my son kept nagging me. He's young, he's in college and 17, and he is in the Reddit groups and he's with a lot of young people. And Doge was big back then. Uh, and so he kept just gnawing at me, man. It's like persistence, right? We talk about persistence. It's one of our cornerstones. This kid was just gnawing at me. And just to get him off my back, I decided to buy some crypto. I moved down from Ohio in 2011. So he was actually visiting me down here. He's in college at Ohio State, and he was just gnawing at me. And so just to get him off my back, I bought some crypto, and I didn't really go back to it until 2019. And that was a couple phones later, and I had to download the app again. And luckily I saved my stuff, which a lot of people don't, but I saved my stuff. And when I went back into it, I was shocked. And I've told that story before. What I was shocked about was that it wasn't zero. That's what I was shocked about. It wasn't zero. I was like, there must be something
Hey,
to this,
hey.
So late 2019, I started to really study it. And by 2020, I jumped in pretty big, and I got to ride that 2020
Oh,
and
that's a nice
21.
timeline to jump in. Yeah.
That was a nice timeline to really put some money into it. And then, of course, I made some trades. I made some good buys and sells at that time. Even back then, I bought $20 Solana. It was either 20 or 22, and it went up to over 200. And but I round tripped. I made a lot of profit. I made good profit. A lot is different for everybody, but for me, I made a lot of profit. And of course, I round tripped. And one of the takeaways I had from the 21 top and riding it down was I didn't have enough Bitcoin. That was my biggest takeaway. I just didn't have enough Bitcoin. And so right about 21 all the way down, I kept DCA in. And a lot of the folks know, I'm a big muscle car guy. And, my Hellcat was sitting in my garage, and I bought it brand new in 16. And it was an asset sitting on my floor. And I kept looking at it, and I only put 3,000 miles on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's sell my Hellcat. And part of it was my grandkids were living here too, and because my daughter sold her house, and her husband and the kids, they moved in. So I was always thinking, oh, they're running the bikes by the Hellcat. They're running, I don't want this Hellcat to get damaged. And so there was other factors, right? And so I decided, yeah, it's time. And in November of 22, I bought two Bitcoin, one at 16.5 and one at 19.5. And then later on, I bought some more at like 27. And I just kept DCAing because my takeaway, what I learned from the first bull market that I participated in, was I didn't have enough Bitcoin. So it's paid off, right? I mean,
Yeah.
now I still have big bags of alts, right? A lot of people know I've held on to my dot since probably 21. I still have dot. I still
Yeah.
have so I mean, I'm sitting here waiting. When's my dot going to go? But I staked it, right? So every day I make a 1.5 dot, sometimes 2 dot a day, and I
Okay.
have for years now. And so who knows, right? That's not, if it doesn't do anything, I'm good, right? So, and why am I good? Well, first of all, only probably 8 or 9% of my whole portfolio, my net worth, is in crypto. So even though I'm in the space, and even though I'm committed, um, I don't, like, it's not everything to me. It's not everything to me. So in the investment world, you have some things you have to hold on to for a while, and in crypto, we like to say, oh, it's going to zero, get out, but I've had a lot of stocks, and like, give you example, during the '08 crash, uh, Fannie Mae was taken over by the government, the bailout, and I had owned Fannie Mae and rode that thing up to $32. And when it crashed, it was a buck. And I was like, oh, I'm buying Fannie Mae at a buck. And so I bought it. And the whole idea was, after the bailout, once Fannie Mae paid the government back, they were supposed to release the stranglehold, because the government was sweeping all the profits from Fannie Mae until they paid them back. Well, they paid them back, and the government never released that stranglehold. So Fannie Mae's been beat down to a buck. If you go back and look at the chart, for years, I mean, it's been a long time. And but now, I haven't looked in. I think I called Piper on this about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, or something. I looked at my portfolio, and that thing was like $6 or $7 now. And look how many years I've held it to get there, right? So I look at some of these good projects, good utility, providing real value, and I'm buying them, and I'm going to hold them, and it's okay. And I learned those lessons from the stock market and earlier investing. 1987, October 19th, to be exact, of 1987. Uh, it was a year and one day after I got married in '86, and we had just gotten married a year, and I was always an investor. I'd always invested. And Black Monday, and oh, man, I did everything wrong. I panicked. I sold. It was a mess. It was a mess, But that tragedy prepared me for what was coming in my life. Right, 2008, a mess. I lost a lot, millions in '08, and I knew that it was happening for me and not to me. And I knew that in my heart, and I knew it in my soul, and I believed it. And it was painful, very, very painful. But I knew there's this sense inside of me that this is happening for me. I got to figure out what the lesson is. And I can tell you this, when you go through those things, you build back way faster and way stronger than you ever could when you were younger and inexperienced. So I went through that. It was good for me. I'm glad it happened. I wouldn't change a thing. And here we are today, and we're in the crypto market. And a lot of those lessons I'm applying to my investment style and portfolio. So yeah, it's been good, man.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, right? Because there's a lot of people right now that are upside down in their portfolios because I think that I won't say everyone, but there's a good percentage of people that may be overexposed and they've taken pretty much everything they've had on the side and kind of put into crypto and they haven't gone strong on Bitcoin. And I've kind of been talking about this a little bit. And what I've been kind of explaining to people that I think there's this psychological aspect around Bitcoin being at $100,000. I think that mentally it turns people off because they're like, well, Bitcoin's already so high. What's the next best thing? What has that opportunity to have a bigger return? And so they naturally start attracting to things that are around $1 or sub $1. And then they have, 1,000 of those. And they think, well, if this thing goes to $1, what could it be? And they get trapped in that, especially times like now where you've seen Bitcoin dominance go up and, the overwhelming majority of institutions, I think, are getting exposure to Bitcoin more so than the alts. And I think that has a very big impact on the price action itself. But I really think that they're like looking at it like, well, it would have to go all the way up to 200,000 for me to like double my investment, and Doge would only have to go to 50 cents for me to double my investment. And they process it that way and they find it more achievable to reach that their investing goal through some of these altcoins. And I think that's why this sentiment right now is kind of the way it is. So, I say that to kind of tie into what you're saying. Like, you might have to wait it out and you might have to DCA through all of what's happening right now. And we could be Fannie Mae here later on, and eventually that investment will come to fruition and you'll achieve the goal that you were looking for. It just might take a while to get there. I will also say I was very fortunate in 2009. I invested in Apple and I literally took my whole savings. I had like $10,000 saved up and I just dumped it. And I it's cuz I did a research project in college. And my research project was on GE, Apple, and there was a couple other companies. But when we broke it all down between the 5 companies that we looked at, Apple had no debt. And I was like, "Hold on. So this company is buku profitable. They have no debt, and everyone around here is running around with an iPhone and a MacBook. Like that's the hotness at that time." And I was like, I'm gonna go for it." And dude, that has been as an amazing investment. And that's really what kind of gave me the itch, to continue this like investment process, we'll say. And then of course, Bitcoin, like that one in itself, like I had some Marines talking to me about it. Matter of fact, one of my buddies is in the chat right now. He's Danny Quest. He's in there. He was talking to me about Cardano. He was a big Cardano guy. Uh, and then I ended up getting invited to a group. I think I put like a status or a post on Facebook and I got invited to a group and I just kind of sat by the wayside a little bit. There was a couple of them that were heavy in dot, but Bitcoin was kind of the big thing. And there was one guy in the group. I'll never forget, man. This guy was always doing charts. And apparently, like he was in paid groups, but like this was his like safe place where he was with friends. So I was really fortunate to get tied into this group. And I just got to sit back and kind of relax and like watch this guy work on the charts. And I was like mesmerized. And I was like, I want to do that. And then I started watching YouTube and I saw a lot of inconsistent advice, we'll say. And some of them were buku big. So I won't say names, I won't say like what channels or any of that, but like really big. And they started doing live trading. And he went against everything he taught. He was like, don't do this, don't do that. And then I just watched him and he's like trying to like catch like falling knives like live. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people watching you right now. Like, and you're doing this and they're going to follow your trade because you're doing it. And he got absolutely wrecked. And a matter of fact, he got wrecked, I think like maybe 3 times in like a week to the point where they stopped doing those segments. So it was kind of interesting because it was on a big channel, very big channel. And I was like, wow, man. And it almost was like kind of an inspiration. I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe I can kind of take my lessons and just, hey, like, here's some of the levels I'm looking at, and, talk about stop losses and kind of how to protect yourself a little bit as you go through. And that's kind of how it like all started for me. So, it has been a journey. That is sure, for sure. But, cool. All right.
Yeah, man. It's
Well,
we all have great, interesting stories of how it all started, right? So
yeah, yeah. It was one of those moments, man. I was just like, I think I can do this. I think. And it really wasn't good. I'm gonna be it was so bad. I go back. I have like sometimes in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I need to take that stuff off of the internet because it's probably leading people down a bad path. But I'm like, I'm gonna own it. But it was like me in my bedroom, and like it was bad. It's
yeah.
embarrassing. Um, all right. So let's go over to the next question. I like this one. So if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
It's to answer. It'd be patience and faith. I
Okay.
was lacking both those things as a younger man. You know, I'm high strung, meaning you give me a mission, and if I'm your employee, I will complete that mission, and I'll kill myself until I complete that mission. And I act with urgency. I act with dedication. I act like I have a ownership mentality. Even when I'm working for other people, I treat it like it's mine. And so that urgency, when I don't see it in other people, it's taken me a lot of years to develop patience and try to really peel back the onion, ask more questions, try to get the angle from their perspective, and now in later life trying to coach them up to see it like they should see it so they can be successful. And so, not that anything's right or wrong, but more so that these are the traits that you need to develop yourself and to win and succeed in life. And so, if I could go back and tell my young 22-year-old self, hey, man, you need to study, go and read on patience and faith. And if I would have taken that advice from myself, I probably would have been in a even better spot than I am today. I don't really look at any of my success like I'm happy, and the reason I'm happy is because of my family. I'm happy because I have a beautiful bride that I married. She's my high school sweetheart. We went to prom together. We graduated on the stage walking side by side. Her name was Ripon. My name is Smothers. So R and S. And so we were paired up. We walked together. She had an awesome
That's really
grandma
cool.
and grandpa and a mom and dad. And I always looked at Grammy and Grampy and I said, I want to be just like them. I want us to be just like them. I want us to have this rich, good, loving life together. And we do. And God's blessed me with that. And marriage isn't easy. You know, when you're young, it's tough. You really have to stretch and grow. And you have men in general, and I'm going to say this because I think it's true. I'm going to be, I think we don't, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And so you really have to look at things from a different perch. And by all means, I'm still learning. I'm learning every day. I'm not perfect at this, but I've learned some things, right? And you just can't do it without a good partner, a good spouse. And I'm just so proud of that. I'm so proud of my kids. I'm proud of my grandkids. And that is the stuff that makes me successful, not my bank account. What makes me successful is I'm happily married. I love my family. They're everything to me. And they're raised now. My daughter's 36, my son's 31. My son went to Duke Med. He's a doctor. My daughter is at Clemson, studying to be a therapist. They I have great grandkids. They're just so loving and fun. And that's really what success is to me. It's not the bank account. It's not the house. It's not whatever your material things are. It's that kind of character, love, support. That's what it's all about for me, and always will be. So when you were asking earlier, um, you said something to balancing it all. It's tough, and I can't remember Trade Fly if that was behind the scenes when we were talking, if that was on the air right now, but we talked a little bit about that, and it's like, listen, man, family first. Family first. Bottom line, family first. So once you get that set, you get that all arranged right, everything else falls into place. You got to have that first.
Yeah. I love it. And, I had this conversation with a really good friend of mine, and he was in the Marines and also working real estate. And when I say working real estate, it was like pretty close to two full-time jobs. And his big thing was saying, hey, I want to leave a legacy for my kids. I want to leave something behind for them. And we had a real like heart to heart because I have this kind of thought process of being part of your kid's life and being able to groom them and raise them and make good humans. Like you have to be there, and you really have to like teach them these things, because you'll miss those opportunities. And I'm not saying there'll be some regret there, but you may look back on it, and that time that you spent away consistently, you may look back and be like, yeah, you left them this duplex or this apartment building or this house or something that's money, right? That some people mistake for success, and you didn't have that opportunity to put your stamp on raising that person. And my thing was, I was like, you want that person to be able to grow up and be, a good human, and be able to like do things like for themselves and be able to contribute back to the community. And that for me, like I'm kind of aligned with you, is really that barometer for being like, okay, I did something right here in life, like I got this little human, and it's turned out to be a really good person, and it's successful, and it's doing it all by itself. And now my little human can go buy those houses all by itself. I don't have to necessarily leave it a house. Like my little human can do this all by itself, and that for me was like, that was my drive. And I thought that that was where I wanted to concentrate my efforts. And that's actually a big reason that I initially got out or off of active duty, because I wasn't able to balance that. And so it was a big decision point for me in my life. Hindsight, like, well, here I am back on active duty, but I get to stay home half the month now too. So there's that. So yeah, man, it's very interesting to hear you say that. And I would say I completely agree with it. So
Yeah, man. It's something special when you figure it out. It's almost like trying to figure out the YouTube algo, right? When you figure it out,
I've
it's
given up
something
on that
special.
thing, man. Hey, I know
So
the algo on X. Just tag CryptoBilly and you'll get 1,000 views on it.
no,
So there we
no.
go. Well, that's what happened on this one. So there you go, man. I figured I broke that algorithm. On to the next. But you know what? I got Piper. He's got a question for you. So this one's going to be a little more ad hoc. I tried not to surprise you too much with the questions, but it does kind of align with one of them I was going to ask anyway. And he said, and this will be applicable for Piper because he's an old guy. I always make fun of him. He's like, how do you justify buying crypto at such a late stage of your life when you consider the risk and what it can mean for what you leave for future generations when you're gone? It's actually not a bad
Well,
question.
yeah, yeah. So my own wealth is not for future generations. All right. So I'm not building this to be able to just give everything to your kids. I believe in work. I believe that if you just hand people everything, it could go bad more than it can go right. So I, it's not late in life to me, like 2011, 2017 when I jumped in. It was disposable income at that time. And once I studied it and learned it and started believing in the ethos of Bitcoin specifically, then I felt like it wasn't a big risk. I felt it was the future. I felt that, what was so cool what was really cool was I studied the Fed. And, so I have a finance degree. I got my securities license when I was really young, and I was always in the markets, and I was always just studying history, especially monetary history, financial history, and I I felt like I was on an island that people just didn't understand that this Federal Reserve is this quasi government thing and that was formed, the meeting in Jekyll Island. And I read that book 25, 30, probably 35 years ago. I don't go see when it was put out. I probably read it then. It's a long, long time ago, way before the internet, way before there was this ability to connect with people. And so the friends that I had really weren't into that kind of thing. And then when I got into crypto, everybody knows the story of the Fed. Everybody understands the fiat system's broken. It was like that alone was so refreshing to me that the people that I'm around understand. And so it was a motivation. It wasn't a risk. It was, I'm believing in this. I'm going in. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And it's been really, really good. So, and also, you remember in 2008, I lost a lot. It was a crash for me. I'm in the housing business. I'm a home builder. I've
Uh,
always been in
that's
construction.
tough.
And, oh yeah, so you have the financial markets, you have the housing markets, and people just couldn't pay. Their builders went, bankrupt, belly up. I tell the story in my home building circles. I tell the story how I used to wait uh, for an hour I had an appointment, but I'd wait in a waiting room for an hour for this guy. And I was doing poured wall basements and excavation, waterproofing, flat work, and this builder at the time, I really wanted his business. I wanted to show him what we got and what we were made of, and he made me wait out there for an hour. And after and that was, I don't know, 96, 97, and after the 2008 housing crash, he was painting my barn for me for extra spare money. This guy was a
That's wild.
multimillionaire, multiple developments, hundreds of houses a year. And in the end, we became really good friends. I talk to him to this day because when the times turned bad for all of us, a few of us really stuck together and helped each other out. And he really had it. And when I looked at his story, and that was another thing, I was in really horrible financial situation because nobody could pay me, and I had to pay all my bills, right? I had to pay my whole company's all the stuff we were ordering and taking care of. And so I I bonded with certain people and became really good friends, and we stuck together and we helped each other out. And to this day, he's back on his feet. He was much older. And when I looked at his story and I looked at my story at the time in the moment, I was like, I don't have it bad. I mean, that dude was like 60 back in '08. I don't know. I was in my 40s, early 40s. And so I was like, okay, if he can go through this, I certainly can go through this. And I knew I was there for a reason, and I learned a lot, and it made me who I am today. So Piper, I really don't look at it as a risk late in life. I look at it as you have to be there. You have to be there. It's like this young generation, in my mind, the only way out for them, unless they're born with a silver spoon, the only way out for them is Bitcoin. Like if we don't or destroy our fiat system and start over. If you're not going to do that, it's going to be Bitcoin. And so I advise all the young people get in early. Like all of my grandkids have a wallet, a hardware wallet, and I have their address, and I just slide a little Bitcoin over there for Christmas or birthday. I have their addresses. So um, I'm I look at that as that's how I'm helping and leaving something for my grandkids because we've been through death. My mom and dad are gone. My wife's mom and dad are gone. Our grandpas went first. We've been through this transition of handing down. I grew up on a dairy farm. My wife grew up on a farm. We understand how all of this works. And trust me, you don't sit around waiting for your mom and dad to die. If you have any character whatsoever, you don't even factor that into your financial budget. It's not part of your thinking. It's not like, oh yeah, when mom and dad die, I'm going to get millions, or I'm going to get $500,000, or whatever the number is. You don't even factor that in. You're living your life, and when it happens, you you don't. It's a mess, right? There's probate. There's even if you do things right. Trust me, I've been through this so many times now. Even if you set it up all right, there's always a snag, man. There's always a snag. So it's like I don't factor that in, and I hope my kids don't factor that in either. Now, if something happens to work out perfectly, for instance, my wife could live to 102. You know, my at that time my kids would be in their 70s, right? So there's always this life stuff that gets in the way. It never goes how you think it's going to go, man. It's not that black and white. So if things like that happen to you and you happen to come into some money, great. But I don't want my kids to be planning on that, right? I don't want them to bank their whole life on something like that happening. So suddenly they're wealthy. I want them to be wealthy way before that. And wealth is of the heart, not just of the purse, right? So, yeah, that's the way I look at it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, shout out to Andrea as well as Caffeinated Crypto. Both of them dropped super chats while we were chatting here. And I just wanted to say thank you and we appreciate it. But man, it's solid advice. It's solid advice. I love hearing it. And it's one thing that kind of as I've gotten older, I really love to talk to people and just hear their experiences in life and kind of their outlook and their vision, just to see it from a different lens. And you're young and dumb, and I kind of look back at times, and one of the things that I would say to me is like, bro, like it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to like have someone like get you through some of this stuff, because when you're younger, at least for me, I was a stubborn mule. Like I would try to do everything by myself. I was an absolute like workaholic. I'd work all night. I wouldn't sleep, but I would do it, and I would do it by myself. And like as I've gotten older, I'm like, it kind of takes a community, it takes a team to kind of help you through some of this stuff. And like not that I've become reliant on other people, but I've realized how much more effective and how much more you can get done if you have a team and you're driving towards the same goal. And that is like really when you can start crushing stuff. So that's like one little thing for me that like I would look back on. Like I've always been someone of faith. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I was an altar boy, believe it or not, guys. Yeah, I was. That background has kind of always been there. I've instilled it in my kids. Something I'm proud of. I'll be
Is
honest.
Dave Digital in the chat right now? I can't see it. So
Oh,
is he in there?
he is. You know how
Okay,
this
so
chat's going right
you better
now.
get ready to delete
Between
his comment.
between him and Jimmy, you already know what's going down right now.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, there's a lot of banner going. But I
Oh,
expect nothing less here in the nightcap chat. It gets
Jimmy Jim.
unhinged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both a trip, man. They're good dudes, man. So
You need to have Jimmy on one day too, and do
I
the
will.
same kind of fireside
I
chat
will.
with Jimmy. Jimmy's a good dude, got a great story. He's got a good life. He's a hoot.
Yeah.
Jimmy's got the
Yeah.
comedy humor bone, like Dave, and I love that. I love good humor.
Yeah.
Little sidetrack. I was laying in bed way back with my wife, way back and watching TV in the bedroom, and Last Comic Standing came on. This was years and years ago, 2005. And I looked up at the TV and I said, that's incredible. I could probably do that. She looked at me. She said, "No, you're too serious. You're too dry. And I was like, no, I think I could do it. So what I did, that the business hat goes on then, right? The drive, the work ethic, the dedication, the mission, got to complete the mission. So when I said I'm going to do this, it was on like Donkey Kong, man. Um, Trust
Yeah,
me, you want me in your
I
foxhole. You
don't
want
like
me in your
someone telling me
foxhole
I can't
because
do something
I just
either.
won't
Yeah.
stop, right? So so I decided to scope out how to be a stand-up comic, and I just so happened, God's grace, once again, man. The main guy, Dave Schwinson, was uh, the GM at the Improv in Cleveland, or excuse me, in New York. So he put on stage people like Drew Carey, Jim Carrey, um, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and he moved. He retired and he moved to Vermillion, Ohio, which was 25 minutes from me, and I looked him up. We connected, got in his comedy workshop. Here, this guy knows everybody in all the club owners, everybody in the comedy, all the TV networks. Um, he he's written plenty of books on comedy, and he's my personal mentor and coach now at this time. And he starts working because comedy is math, comedy is logic, and I love logic. In college, I just straight A, I just love logic. I love equations where it's 2 plus 2 is 4 every time. You know, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6 every time. It's a premise plus a premise equals a conclusion every time, right? And so comedy is that way. And if you don't study it, you might not see it that way, but in the end, it's that way. He taught me this, and I started going to the comedy clubs, and I started getting on. And then there's a big comedy contest. Whereas if you won the contest, they would send you to Las Vegas to the Golden Nugget, and you would be one of the candidates that could get on Last Comic Standing. So here I am in Hilarities, 250 people in the house, put on the absolute best show that I could, standing ovation. First time someone asked me for my autograph afterwards, won the contest, got to
Let's
go to
go.
Vegas, got to perform at the Golden Nugget, was in Frank Sinatra's dressing room prepping for it. I didn't win in Vegas, but that whole experience was just amazing. The phone kept ringing. They wanted me to go to all these different states. And what I learned is you say no to a club owner, they're all connected, kind of like the YouTube. So
Ah,
like the YouTube
little
people, right?
mafia,
So
huh?
we're kind of connected in the background, right? So if somebody over here is a DJ, we're going to find out about it, right? Well, I didn't know that. And, I told a lot of these guys, no, I can't do that. My son's baseball games that night. I'm not missing my son's baseball game. Well, those people that are in it to be a professional comedian, they're going to say yes every time. They're going to get slapped around like a rag doll. And I just was, no, I'm not in it for that, man. I'm not in it for that. So I told them no. The phone stopped ringing. I kind of died out. But I did a lot of shows, and I put together shows too. And I met a lot of comedians that are on TV now. And like we partied together in the back rooms and stuff. And it was a great little like 2.5, 3 year excursion in my life that I love the fact that I participated in that, and it brought a lot of wisdom to me.
That's awesome. That's super, super cool.
And I have the videos too. Dave, I think somebody was saying you got to
We
post
need to
one.
get it. We need to get a hold of those. Like, don't come on this show again without that material. We need that. All right, we need that. Oh gosh, I'd pay good money to see this. Yeah, I mean, that's wild. Like sometimes like people talk to me. So I played soccer growing up. I played sports. My whole life was revolved around sports. And like that's what I thought I was gonna do with life is just play sports. And you realize that like that is the best of the best. And then I deployed and I went to the Marine. So I basically had a few year period where I was completely removed from playing sports and I was doing the Marine thing. That's back after 9/11 and got that, had that whole calling to go serve the country. And, it took time. So I came back like later afterwards. And then I was like, oh, well, I just want to go back to college and play soccer. But at that point, like you realize like I'm behind the curve. Like my my opportunity to probably go professionally has probably kind of passed me by. And so I think there was opportunities if I wanted to go like overseas to different countries. But also too at that point in time, like when I was going through college, like college or professional soccer players, unless you were a big name, were not paid very well. Like I could have made more at a very baseline IT job, and I could have bought the
Yeah.
soccer field, like. But so the second love I've had in life was always planes and flying, and I've been flying since I was 15. And it
Wow, that's
was,
amazing, dude.
yeah, it was kind of like, I grew up in a small town, one traffic light, and I've kind of said I've overachieved a little bit, but I felt like it was something that there was doubters, we'll say. All right, so even within my own family, there was people that doubted, I could do it, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do that. And there was one dude in particular that I deployed with too, that he was a Cobra pilot, and he was like, "You'll never get that. They'll never give it to you." And I was like, "Oh, game on, dude. Game on. I will outwork everyone in this room. It's gonna happen." And I got my platform, I got my coast, I got my first choice like overall, and it's all worked out. And I've went to another company. I won't say the company, but I'm now the chief pilot, of that company. Um, and it's a
That's
fortune.
amazing.
It's just outside we'll say a Fortune 110. All right, it's pretty high up there. But it's that little bit of doubt, man. It gives you a drive. But some people are wired a little different too. Like it doesn't inspire everyone, because there's some people, especially I think some of the younger generation, they're just like, all right, cool. Like I'll just do something else on YouTube, we'll be good. Like, but I don't know,
Yeah,
man. It's cool. It's cool to hear these stories, man.
yeah, man.
But this has been cool. This has been cool. The hour has flown by.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And, I just want to show some love to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. It's been funny, of course, Dave and Jimmy just stirring up stuff in there. But
Oh, I can't imagine what
oh yeah,
those
you know
guys
how
are
it gets
saying.
in my chat. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
always a trip, man. They crack me up.
I know how it
But
gets in our meetings behind the scenes. So yeah, I
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, I got a little background of that today because I met up with Dave and Jimmy, so that was cool seeing them in real life. And look forward to hanging out with you guys again when we get out to Vegas. It's gonna be a good time, man. It's gonna be good. And you guys are fam, and I appreciate you again for taking the time and coming on and talking a little bit about your background and your life. And I really think that this is good. This is good stuff for people, and I hope to do some more of it. And if you guys enjoy it, let me know. Let me know. Simple as smashing the like button. That'll let us know that this is something you guys like. So with that, Billy, I'm going to hand it over to you, let you say goodbye to everyone, and then we will get out of here for the night.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me, Tradefly. I appreciate this. We got to maybe bring Jimmy on, some of the team on, and we'll bring you on our channel too. And having these real conversations, I think, are important so people really get to know you and who you are, what you stand for. And so I appreciate all the kudos at the beginning. It really did make me tear up, man, when you was talking about the giver's gain and the impact that we have on people. That's really what it's all about. That's it in a nutshell. I'm investing over here on the side for myself and my family. The rest of this is for everybody else, right? So what I do over here is my stuff, and everything else that we're doing in the crypto space is for everybody else. So I appreciate hearing those kind words. And one last thing I will say is I believe Retro Mike is Satoshi.
There you go. I love Mike.
We'll see you, bro.
He's
Thank
a
you.
trip.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right. With that being said, we're going to get out of here. Love you guys a long time. Trade safe, be safe, and we will see you again with our regularly scheduled program, we'll say, tomorrow. We're out.
Welcome to the nightcap, your TA home. Everybody knows we trade in them zones. Late night, no sleep, yeah, we keep it real. Crypto moves fast, no time for the feels. Trade fly rockin' charts, he about to take flight. Crypto nightcap, where the dark meets the bright. This path ain't cheap, you can dream while you sleep. Steady building wealth, invest in yourself. Breaking it down, good vibes in sight. The makers in tight, adjusting my sight. It's all or nothing, this is how we attack. Get your head right, it's a crypto nightcap.